CM Punk is likely done with AEW. This, according to PW Torch and Wade Keller, who said last night, quote, "I am not expecting CM Punk to wrestle in AEW again. Not saying it's 100% sure thing, but everything is pointing in the direction of some sort of buyout of his contract." So CM Punk, the biggest free agent signing in the history of AEW, one of the biggest free agent signings in the history of professional wrestling, for being honest with you, done with the company after exactly 1 year. The first dance happened in August, like mid-August 2021, and his last match, his likely last ever appearance, again, not 100% sure thing, but trending in that direction. This kind of goes along with things we've heard with the backstage environment really turning on Punk. And it was, I think Sean Ross Sapp said like something along the lines of like the sentiment is roughly like 90% against Punk or in some way negative towards Punk, and the other part is in some way sympathizing with him. I mean, look, a buyout is probably the best way for both sides to handle it without any sort of legal ramifications or legal hoops to jump through. Punk can get some money, and AEW can just kind of wash their hands about all of this and move on, and in a way that they've already done, because the last few weeks of AEW television have been really stellar. Like Dynamite Grand Slam was a home run. The past few weeks with MJF and Jon Moxley really being the two anchors of the show have really done, I think, wonders for the perception, the PR, and the programming itself has just been and stellar, as I said before. But as far as CM Punk and this whole thing goes, I mean, we had heard rumblings that we were going to hear something soon. We were going to hear something about this whole topic soon. Of course, biggest story in the wrestling world right now, CM Punk versus the Elite. That big fight coming after All Out. And it's honestly, it's equal parts kind of relieving that this seems to be coming to a head at some point, because we can just kind of stop talking about this, focus on the great product that they're putting out, and instead of the backstage drama that really not many of us have anything to do with personally, but it does affect the way we perceive the show, and we perceive certain personalities on the show as well. I think that's a good thing, and I mean, like, the other thing to go along with all of this is it's going to be good just overall for the future talent, I think, because the way that CM Punk kind of came after, I think, a lot of the younger talent, especially. I mean, he was mostly talking about the Elite and Hangman Adam Page. Kind of threw MJF in there as well, but who knows how much of that was a work or a shoot. But I think hearing that from a veteran, from someone who the company brought in, paid all this money to, had the biggest Rampage rating Rampage will ever had at that time slot. Like so much put on him, a two-time champion. Hearing that had to be deflating, I think, for a lot of young people. And I mean, even someone like Hangman Adam Page, who personally didn't have a problem with CM Punk. It seemed like CM Punk just kind of took what he said out of context, and that's led to this kind of just unraveling of this relationship between CM Punk and several parts of AEW, and what led to eventually this big fight, and you know, the comments made about Scott Colton, who again is under Tony Khan's employment. So I mean, just hearing that and hearing all that talked about in the press conference, and Tony just kind of sitting there. I mean, something had to be done, and maybe this is the thing. But we knew that Punk was going to be out for like 9 months regardless, because he suffered that injury at the pay-per-view. And I mean, like a buyout at this point just makes sense. I don't think that it's going to. I don't, like, the thing is, right? One of the big reports that came out was that the locker room essentially said that if Punk were to come back, there had to be kind of an attitude shift. There had to be amends made, I think was the quote from Fightful Select. And This is no disrespect to Punk. Not saying that people can't change, but Punk is an older guy. And a lot of times, and I think he's even like hinted towards this before, a lot of times older guys are set in their ways. And to expect CM Punk to change, I think, and the way he kind of handles things and the way he views things and that kind of stuff is a dubious proposition, to be quite honest with you. Not saying it's impossible. Not saying I hope he doesn't do it. I hope he does. And they're able to make a lot of money together and make some entertaining television, because CM Punk's responsible for what I believe to be one of the best feuds in wrestling in recent memory, him versus MJF. Everything about that feud was amazing. They had stellar matches. The dog collar match was iconic. I mean, just him coming out to his ROH theme, it was perfect. And he's had so many of those perfect moments while in AEW. And we were all looking forward to the summer of Punk. And then on some Kaiser Soze shiznit, he's gone. It just shows you never say never in professional wrestling. That's why I'll also say, like, CM Punk it's possible that CM Punk comes back to AEW at some point. It's possible. Because you never say never in wrestling. It's possible that he's got the bug now and he goes back to WWE, because Triple H is a guy who's known to mend relationships that have been eroded away by Vince McMahon and even himself at some point. So anything's possible. One thing, though, that looks to be at least trending in that direction is that CM Punk is not going to be with All Elite Wrestling for the foreseeable future. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think about this report. Hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released.